Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hello. It's Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. And here are some of today's trends in the news. And remember, the trend is your friend. And we're the only magazine in the world that gives you trend forecasting. Nothing else like it anywhere, any place. You know, there was an article in the toilet paper record, the New York Times adds 180 digital readers. Holy Christ, in the recent quarter. I get the New York Times every day. I read it to see what they're saying. I want to get, I read everything. I read as much as I can, whether it's Haaretz, Jerusalem Post, to Fars News Agency in Iran, IRNA. I read Al Jazeera. I read Bloomberg. I read the world. I read Global Times, China. We cover the world. And I get all of this and read it to find out what the major stories are and what the importance of them are and how they're affecting the trends of the future. I get so little information from the New York Times. One of the best sources, by the way, is the Financial Times. And the Wall Street Journal is a fraction of what it used to be. I mean, they fired so many people over the last several years. So it's very hard to find. So you have to follow, you have to go through the world, around the world, to find the important stories and trends that you make connections between them to see where they're going. So we're giving you everything we can with the Trends Journal. And there's, again, do what you can. If you want to see what the future is going to be, subscribe to the Trends Journal. I mean, it's the toilet paper record is like what, $3 a day. Ours is less than $3 a week, and 30-day money back guarantee. So go to trendsjournal.com because we're going through the worst geopolitical and socioeconomic crisis in modern history. Fed says it could cool it on the Fed says it could cool it on rate hikes as soon as next month. Now the future of the economy depends on how long the increases last. So that's the BS that came out after they raised the rates. Where are the markets going? The market should be tanking. And again, when you look at what the inflation rate is and what the interest rates are, we're still in negative territory. Gold prices are taking a hit because the dollar is getting stronger. And the emerging markets are going to submerge really, really badly, as are other currencies, because as the interest rates go up on the dollar, their currencies go down and their debt is dollar-based. So they're going to have to pay a lot more money to pay off that debt. So you're going to see people taking to the streets in countries all over the world in protest of lack of basic living standards. Government corruption. It's in a country near you. A country near you. Crime, violence. You think you have refugee problems now? Haven't seen anything yet. It will become appropriate to slow the pace of increases as we approach the levels of interest rates that will be sufficiently restrictive to bringing inflation down to our 2% goal, Powell said yesterday. So the time is coming, and it may come as soon as the next meeting or the one after that. No decision has been made, he added. Now, I call this wrong. I was playing the Trump card. What Trump did back in 2018 in December, as the markets were tanking, he forced this Powell boy to lower interest rates. I thought with the midterm elections coming up, that Biden would push Powell not to raise interest rates aggressively. I was wrong. They raised them 75 basis points. We said they would raise them 75 basis points. So we're half right, because we also said they may do that. They may raise them less, 25, 50 basis points, but they will say that there may be a slowdown in the future. And that's what they're doing. So we were half right on this. And the reality of it, as we see it now, they may raise interest rates and keep them going up. but guaranteed, and I will bet anything, before the 2024 presidential reality show, they will lower interest rates dramatically before that to boost up the economy. They always do. So the economy is going to go down hard, and it's going to go down around the world. So that's the way we see it. You know what the credit card rate now is? It's almost 20%. When I was a young guy, they used to, mobsters, they're charging 10% interest rate. That scumbag, arrogant little prick that everybody loves. The peanut farmer with a pair of fucking balls the size of a peanut, an arrogant little dick who played so nice. That's the cocksucker who did away with the usury laws that allowed this to happen. And the bankster gang raising interest rates to that kind of level that you have to pay on your debt. He's also the fuck that brought us interstate banking. It wasn't allowed before. Bank of America was out in California. It was intrastate banking. He had all local banks. What a fuck he was. Oh, he also, that cocksucking, arrogant little prick, along with Brzezinski, whose little boy now is still in the club playing ambassador, some fucking jerk-off role, brought us Mujahideen, which became Al-Qaeda, because to fight the Russians in Afghanistan. Anyway, those are the fuckfaces running and ruining our lives. Quote, I don't have any sense that we over-tightened or moved too fast, Powell said. I think it's been good and successful program. We've gotten this far this fast. Remember, though, that we still think there's a need for ongoing rate increases, and we have some good ground left to cover here and cover it well. I don't have any sense that we've over-tightened. You don't have any fucking sense about anything, you fucking scumbag. You're the bullshit artist that was going on for months. Hey, Salenti, you're full of shit. Inflation's only temporary. How dare you forecast it's going to go up? You don't know what you're talking about. And then he said, it's only transitory. Yeah, I don't have any sense that we've over-tightened or moved too fast. You don't have any fucking sense at all. Oh, now it's transgendatory. And then the other one over there, the former head of the International Monetary Fund, Christine Lagarde, who's now ahead of the European Central Bank, where they kept negative interest rates for 8 fucking years and bought government and corporate bonds to the tune of some $5 trillion. Again, it's the merger of state and corporate powers, according to Mussolini, fascism. That's his quote. Buying up corporate bonds and too big to fail. Federal Reserve dumped in $29 trillion between 2007 and 2010 to bail out the banksters. Oh, according to the Levy Institute at Bard College. She goes on to say, European Central Bank Christine Lagarde warned that a mild recession is possible, but it wouldn't be sufficient in itself to stem soaring prices. This is the other fuckface who said there was no inflation. They've all acted way too late, and it's not the economy that's bringing up inflation, shitheads. It's the cheap fucking money you pumped into the system to fight the COVID war, tens and tens and tens and countless trillions of dollars, and negative and zero interest rate policy. They're the ones that caused it. And here's the fucking bullshit that they put out, and the scumbags that call themselves journalists that are nothing more than media whores repeat. So they had this meeting over there, the executive board members of today, the governing council members in Europe, the ECB. This is the kind of 7 of the governing council's 25 members spoke on Thursday, days after showed consumer prices surged 10.7% in October. 10.7% in October, when fuckface is saying there's no inflation for years. For years. These are the people running and destroying and ruining our lives. Don't forget to vote. Don't forget to vote. They go on that the ECB has raised interest rates to much nearer levels that neither stimulate, okay. This guy, Centeno, who's the head of this governing council, said, quote, the war, not rate hikes, are driving recession risks. The war? A fuckface. It's not the war, prick. It's the sanctions that you put on Russia, shithead, that stop the flow of energy coming in, fuckface. But we won't talk about that. We'll blame it on the war because that's all that they do. Yep. It's all that they do. One piece of bullshit in here after another from this governing council, and we'll have it all in your Trends Journal. Pound tumbles as Bank of England hikes rates, warns of recession for all of next year. So the sterling now is going back to an all-time low. Oh, this again, the fucking English. We're going to help the Ukrainians. The fucking English killed more fucking people around the world in the last two centuries than just about anybody. America's catching up. Sun never sets on the British Empire. Hey, you folks over there in India loved them, didn't you? No, over in Burma. Oh, that's Myanmar now. What a bunch of shit. Anyway, sterling fell 2% against the dollar. 37-year low in September. Bank of England raised interest rates 75 basis points. The bank predicted inflation will hit 11% by the year's end. And this is the headline in BBC, the bullshit cartoon newspaper. Bank of England expects UK to fall into longest ever recession. Did they ever talk about why this happened? Because a scumbag, fuckface, little moron, you got a picture of the guy, Boris Shithead Johnson, a clown of a scumbag, arrogant fuck, locked down the joint while he was partying and jerking off. Because that's all he is a jerk off over there in England. Yeah, the UK. How about the FUCK? All of this has been caused by the COVID war, the locking down of entire nations, destroying businesses, and billions of lives and livelihoods, but no one talks about it. Instead, they blame it on the pandemic when anything goes negative. So, what else? Home prices in Greater Toronto only fell nearly 50%. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Yearly inflation in Turkey, it just hit a 25-year high of 85%. It'll be fine. Everything's just great. The world couldn't be better. Yep. It's J&J, Johnson & Johnson, to buy Abiomed for about $17 billion. I mention this because every week we have in the Trends Journal, Big's getting bigger. And that's all they're doing. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we, the people of Slavelandia, work for them. You like your job at Target? No, I like working at Walmart. No, Costco's best for me. I like Home Depot. Why, Lowe's is better than that. All these people used to have their own hardware stores, their own stationery stores, their own grocery stores. Now it's all chains because these fucking scumbag political freaks got bought out, pay them off easily by the big corporations so they could take control of everything. Ready for this headline? Ukraine crisis created artificially. Russia's Lavrov. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has said the crisis in Ukraine was, quote, created artificially for purely geopolitical reasons. He confirmed Russia had contacts with Ukraine interim government, but said Kyiv was beholden to a radical right. Russia, he said, was open to further dialogue in the West if it was, quote, honest and partner-like. Article, this is from the BBC. The crisis in Ukraine began in late November when President Viktor Yanukovych abandoned a landmark agreement with the EU in favor of closer ties with Russia. The Russian foreign minister said the interim government of Kyiv was, quote, not independent because it depends to a great extent on the radical nationalists who seized power by force of arms. Right sector, the main radical group, was, quote, calling the tune in Kyiv, he said, and using, quote, terror and intimidation as its methods. The crisis in Ukraine began in late November when President Viktor Yanukovych abandoned a landmark agreement with the EU in favor of closer ties with Russia. March 2014. I was going through some old papers and found that. And here's your trends. So that happened in 2013. And here it all is in your Trends Journal, how the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych, Victoria Nuland, all the details, the 2013 speech in Washington, D.C., saying that $5 billion of our money went to NGOs to, quote, to bring democracy to Ukraine. Goes back to November. That was December when she said that, 2013. All the facts are here. Nobody knows them, and the morons and imbeciles keep believing what they're told. I see more Ukrainian flags than American flags hanging out, and people don't have a clue about this. Kremlin vows to prevent nuclear clash and avoid arms race. We are firmly convinced that in the current difficult, turbulent situation, which is the consequence of irresponsible and impudent actions aimed at undermining our national security, preventing any military clash between nuclear powers is the highest priority. And then they go on, the Financial Times, to denounce what this Russian foreign minister said. Republicans attack plan to rotate Okinawa jets. Republican lawmakers, what lawmakers? Shitheads, have criticized the plan by the Pentagon to replace F-15 fighter jets permanently based in Okinawa. What the fuck are we doing in Okinawa? Where did that end? 77 years ago, the war, and we're still there? What America is this? Taken over from the UK? The sun never sets on the American empire? What the fuck are we doing in Okinawa? The criticism followed a report in the Financial Times that the U.S. Air Force would withdraw two squadrons, our money, of F-15 Eagles from Kasnada Air Force Base. And the Air Force will temporarily replace the 48 F-15s with more advanced F-22 stealths. They said it would result in, quote, lowering the bar for aggression and demonstrating a continued mismatch between the Biden administration's talking points on the Indo-Pacific and American actual commitments to the region. We are concerned that the Department of Defense decision sends the wrong signal not only to the Chinese Communist Party, but to our allies and partners. Critics have suggested the move to withdraw the F-15's Eagles without a long-term solution undermined the mantra from the Pentagon that it viewed China as the pacing threat to the United States. How is it a threat to the United States if China takes over Taiwan, which has been going on since the Ming Dynasty back and forth? How is that a threat to us? How is it a threat if Russia takes over Ukraine? Oh, then they're going to go further. Yeah, like the dominoes kept falling in Vietnam. The same bullshit. By the way, I bought this shirt, got this shirt made actually in Vietnam in 1996, almost 25 years ago. We were one of the first Americans that went there. And they were very nice to us, even though what we did to them, the country. UN General Assembly says Israel must get rid of nuclear arsenal. Why? How dare they say that? The International Atomic Energy in 152 to 5 votes. You know who voted against it? Canada, Israel, Micronesia, Palawa, what the fuck are they, and the United States. Now, Israel could have all the nuclear weapons they want. They say they have about 400 nuclear bombs. But Iran can't have any, North Korea can't have any, but Israel can. Just like Israel could steal Palestinian land, God gave that to them. And they could call themselves settlers as they steal it. But those dirty Russians, boy, you got to stop them. Oh, we got a lot here. Truce is reached in Ethiopia in 2-year civil war. The path of conflict that has killed hundreds of thousands and displaced millions. Oh, yeah? How come that's not the news? Hundreds of thousands are killed? Oh, no, only Ukrainian. Dead Ukrainians count. Dead Ethiopians don't count. And again, we covered this when the war began some 2 years ago in detail. How another Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner, the fucking shithead playing the president over in Ethiopia, launched the war against the Tigrays because they had an election. And he said they weren't allowed to have an election because they were fighting the COVID war. And he's the one that launched the war. But that's okay. Disneyland shut after single case of COVID. Unease as COVID lockdown detains 200,000 at iPhone plant in China. Oh yeah, the Chinese way, you must obey. That's become the Western way as well. The sickness and craziness. One person tested positive, they locked down Disneyland. Yeah, it's a freak show, and we have the freaks in charge. College faces generation of students left behind. No kidding. COVID war did it, but you know what they say? Colleges are now educating their first waves of students who experienced pandemic learning loss in high school. Not pandemic learning loss. Little fucking arrogant boys and girls that locked down the fucking schools, sent them home, while the data shows some 693 1 to 17-year-olds died of COVID in 2 years, 2020 to 2022, and 60% of them that were hospitalized were obese. But don't forget to get the shot. Look what they've done to society. The damage that's done by the COVID war is incalculable. It has changed life. The damage is extensive. And we'll have a lot more in your Trends Journal. Now here's one more. Walgreens and CVS reached $10 billion deal over opiates. Yeah, dealing drugs. I lost my niece, OD'd on opiates. $10 billion they're fined. How about the fuck faces who run the country, the companies? How come they're not going to jail? You get caught smoking a joint. You get caught 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out. You're in fucking jail. Old Biden brought you that one. Selling fucking marijuana, you go to jail. But these pricks kill over, nearly what? They say 600,000, much more than that. And they're still dying from it. And nobody goes to jail. It's prosecution to the fullest for we the little people of Slavelandia, and a slap on the wrist for the bigs. Just like fuckface Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan Chase, 5 felonies convicted. Give him a fine, let him go, that's fine. So anyway, we're doing everything we can to fight for peace. And people are telling me, what are you going to do? You can't do anything. Don't tell me that. Everybody has to do something. Do whatever you can. Do whatever you can to change the course. By helping people, contribute to Occupy Peace, to freedompeacejustice.com, and subscribe to the Trends Journal, trendsjournal.com. The more subscribers we have, the more we can do. We have to build our audience and get the message out bigger. We're doing fine, but we're not doing good enough. We need your help. United we stand, divided we die. And don't forget to watch Celente and the Judge last night. It's a great one. Yeah. You want to fight the race war, you're going to lose. It's a bunch of what they do with the baseball. They're making a big deal that there are no black players in the World Series and making it seem like it's racist. It's terrible. How about Hank Aaron? How about all the great remember loads of them when I was a young guy? That's not what they're doing. All the black basketball players. You know, I could give a shit if somebody's black, green, yellow, white, what religion. I want the best of the best. That's all that counts. So if you're going to play the race game, you're going to lose. And we have to unite. I mean, you know, it's terrible what they've done. And man, I'm a lover of jazz. And boy, that's the black heart and soul of America. And it was our greatest export for years, the sound of America. And now it's gone into one bad rap. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget, Celente and the Judge. Bye-bye. From COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. Are you prepared for what's next? These are unprecedented times. What's next? What's going to happen? Read the Trends Journal. We have an unsurpassed track record of forecasting history before it happens. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. Read history before it happens. From the world leader in trend forecasting.